Welcome to our channel. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Emily.
And this is the Mckinney block. It's the third block of a 9-part series that we're doing for a sew along, and we are so excited to be here today.
We've got our Good Neighbor Block Party sew along, and this is our third week. And so today we kind of are highlighting Brother a little bit, right? Which is exciting. We're giving you all the info on Brother.
Yeah.
How to get your perfect 1/4 inch.
And Emily is going to coach me along as I piece this block together for you guys.
This is the Mckinney block that we're going to be piecing together today. And if you have your kits at home already, you will open them and see a little bit more simple palette than we've had on a couple other ones. So we've got our speckled fabric and we've got a solid. And so we're going to take you through this block today and show you how to piece this together for the Mckinney block. But I also want to notice or highlight, if you've been following along and sewing with us with the speckled fabric and you're loving it, you can actually get the entire collection with a pre-cut. So every single color in the speckled line is in here. So there's some really great patterns out there for 2.5 inch strip piecing that you can knock something else out if you're new to quilting. Or if you've been doing it for a long time.
And those are available on our website, shopstitchhouse.com. Okay, so we have used Bernina and Janome as machines in our tutorials, and I'm so excited today to be using the Brother Luminaire XP1 because this is one of the most robust sewing, embroidery, and quilting machines on the market. So I'm going to show you how I get a 1/4 inch using this machine. It's a little bit unconventional and it's going to seem foreign to some of you guys, but once you see how well it works, it's going to be a game changer in my opinion. Currently right now I have my workspace set up where I pulled my embroidery arm off of the machine and I put this awesome 26 by 16 inch work table on it. It's new from Brother and it's really nice because it actually folds up so you can take it with you really easy. It's got these legs that kind of fold up under there. And I really like it for how much space it gives me. Something else you'll notice on the Luminaire is there's a ton of lighting underneath here, even up into the bridge area, so I can see really well what I'm doing. So, few things to note about the Luminaire is it has this awesome stitch plate that just pops off. I really think this was made specifically for quilters because quilters are always getting all of our lint and dust kind of in this area. If you have a machine that doesn't have a stitch plate that just easily pops off, you may have to use screws or something like that to kind of get into the area to clean out. I love, love, love that this stitch plate is just the push of a button on here. Something else that I love is that it comes with 2 stitch plates as well. So this stitch plate in particular is my wide stitch plate where I can do decorative stitches and things like that. And I'm going to leave that on for quilting today. And then to put it back on, it's really simple. I'm just going to pop my bobbin case back in and then press it down. And then when I go to put my bobbin in this machine, it's also really simple. It's a quick set bobbin from Brother. So I just drop it in, around, up, and cut. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the type of foot that I'm choosing to use for this machine. This is called the Move It foot from Brother. It's also a dual feed foot, or what I like to call a walking foot on steroids. It's a big, big mamma jamma. There's no denying it. When you are talking about a traditional 1/4 inch foot like this one that comes with the machine, the SA185 Brother 1/4 inch piecing foot with guide, this is what most people are used to when they're using just a regular 1/4 inch foot. However, I really enjoy using the Move It foot for a multitude of reasons. First of all, the Move It foot has different attachments that come on and off of it. This is the one that comes standard with it on the machine, and it's got this really great grid line. These just pop on and off, so it's not hard to change the foot. This is the key to this Move It foot. It's got this belt action and it actually plugs into the back of my machine, so it's going to pull my fabric through at a constant motion while I'm sewing, which is really nice, especially because most of the time I don't pin. In fact, I don't think I'm going to pin at all while I do this block. So you'll get to see how that all works. Now I took the regular attachment off and I put the 1/4 inch attachment on because I really like the guide that it gives me for keeping my fabric in line. There are some other options as well depending on how you quilt. There's an open toe attachment And there's also a stitch in the ditch attachment that I don't have up here, but it's really nice depending on if I'm actually quilting and not just piecing. It's got a little black guide that goes down the center for stitch in the ditch that I love. So you have a lot of options to get a 1/4 inch on the Luminaire, but my favorite is going to be using the Move It foot with the 1/4 inch dual feed attachment on here, and I'll show you how well that works in just a minute. This little tail hanging off the end, but it's just like any traditional foot. You've got this little C space here, and it's going to attach on to my needle bar. So I'm just going to bring it around the back here. And tighten it on. Now, this is my favorite Brother included accessory, but you can also buy one if you don't have one or if you've lost it. This is the multi-function screwdriver, and so I'm just going to give it a nice little tighten down here so nothing happens to my Move It foot. You notice you've got this little tail hanging off. There's only one spot that it can go in the back, and I'm just going to plug it in. Perfect. Now my machine recognizes that I have the dual feed foot attached, and I'm going to set us up for 1/4 inch piecing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to thread up my machine, and I'm using Aurifil 50 weight for piecing. I've always used Aurifil. I love Aurifil. And I'm going to come up and around and thread it normally. This is the part that really blows everybody's minds though. We are going to use the automatic needle threader with the dual feed foot on. So I just press this button here, my needle threader comes down, and it works perfect, which I love. A few more setup things here for the Luminaire. Unfortunately, this is the foot control that the Luminaire comes with, and I'm just not a huge fan of it because there are other options out there in the world. This is the foot control I prefer to use, and there's even an addition that you can get to add to the side of it. But this foot control not only moves forward, but it also moves back as well. So you can use it for many different ways. This could be needle up, needle down. This could be thread cutting. It's really nice. I also like the space that it is and how substantial it is, so it's not moving around on me while I'm sewing. So that's one of my favorite things about the multifunction foot control over the one that comes with it standard. My last piece to set up before I can start piecing is going to be using my projector, which is only built into the Luminaire, and I just think it makes a world of a difference, especially for someone like me who is not the most seasoned quilter in the world. But I do enjoy quilting when I get a chance, like right now. It's actually really fun. So I want to show you guys how to use the projector to get the perfect 1/4 inch. Something to note is right here on my stitch plate, I also have a 1/4 inch mark, which is really, really great. I've got my 1/4 inch attachment on, but now I'm going to turn my projector on my screen, and I am going to make sure that I'm using my piecing stitch with the center, with my piecing middle stitch. So that's number 131. And you can see on my projector, I'm going to be able to see exactly where my lines are going to match. So I have 2 lines, and I'm going to scoot my fabric over just a little bit. My green line should line up right with the edge of my fabric, and my red line should be my stitch line, my 1/4 inch line. And I've set those up here. You can see my main line positions based on using my dual feed foot with my middle needle position. So if I were to start piecing right now, my foot would drop automatically, and I would have these 2 lines to really go off of in addition to this 1/4 inch attachment. So I can't really mess it up. I probably will somehow in some way, shape, or form, but this is a really foolproof way to start quilting. And if you're new to quilting and you've maybe been using this machine for embroidery for a long time, this is a really, really great way to get going because it sets up a lot of the things that you need to be really successful.
So this is the layout that we have for the Mckinney block. Our past blocks, you've noticed, don't give you any color layout, so that's why this one's going to be really important. As you'll see on our diagram, we've got similar shapes with no color direction. So this is how it's going to look. We've got the X in the middle. This is a really cool block because you could do alternating, you know, which is what we have here and here. The navy are opposite each other, as well as the pink. But you could also do pink to navy. You've got a lot of options with this one for color placement. We've decided to go this route to give a really dynamic feel. So we've got the small triangle that we've used before, that's the A piece. And then we've got this trapezoid shape, which is the B piece. So
ooh, nice trapezoid reference.
Yeah,
Emily.
I mean, I remember my geometry.
Yeah, how about that?
So we've got 2 trapezoids and the 2 triangles, and that's what makes up 1 unit of each block. So we're going to repeat those over and over really easily, just with the 2 tones. So you should have 4 of the peach trapezoids, 4 of the navy trapezoids, 4 of the peach triangles, and 4 of the navy triangles, and that's how we're going to make each block. These are 3 of the units, and I'm going to kind of show you how I would, what the order would that I would sew these in. So I'm going to hand these to Jessica. I'm actually going to start thinking about these 2 pieces separately. So I'm going to flip over my navy triangle, and again, this is really great how even with the trapezoid shape, the corners line up perfectly. So I can flip that, and Jessica's going to sew perfectly along her 1/4 inch with her on the Luminaire.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, she can do it. And then I'm gonna flip this one here, just like that, and it lines up perfectly. Jessica's actually been quilting way longer than I've been.
Okay, I was telling Emily this story, maybe we should tell it really quick. So the first time I ever started quilting, I cannot remember this guy's name for the life of me, but my mom had a like quilting 101 class at her store, and this guy was teaching the class, and everybody was, it was a basic 9-patch block. I was 7 years old, and everybody was starting to cut up their strips, you know, they're like 2-inch strips or whatever. And everybody was using a rotary cutter, and he wouldn't let me use a rotary cutter. So I went into the bathroom at my mom's store and I started crying.
Was it unsafe for young kids?
Apparently, but I went in the bathroom and my mom comes in, she's like, why are you crying? I'm like, he says I can't use a rotary cutter. You know,
when I taught my nieces how to sew a little bit, I left the iron and the rotary cutter to me as well.
Well, I use that rotary cutter by the end of it, I'll tell you that
Jessica,
much.
Of course, if I know your personality now, I can imagine you as a 7-year-old really being firm about like, you can do these things.
Oh, I was using that rotary cutter and you weren't telling me I wasn't going to. So that looks awesome though, Emily. I totally get what where you're going with this.
So even though we can do 1 block at a time, you know, this is our 3rd week in the Good Neighbor Block Party, and you kind of know some tips. So we are going to chain piece these, and every single thing is going to be totally identical. You're just going to know that you have opposite pieces. So navy goes with peach, this navy, the larger one, goes with the smaller one. So we've got opposites on every single one. So we can always make sure that we get back to our correct color coordination, but we can chain piece all of those. I didn't use the roller, and I did notice that when I went to my iron, pressing my seams either to the dark side or open was a little bit more difficult. So I went back to my roller on this one, and I have really great seams. So they're pressed.
I love that.
Really nice.
It's beautiful.
And you know, we're really lucky because we're doing a block a week, so we can make sure that we line up our 1/4 inch perfectly, we can make sure we don't have any overhangs, and we can make sure we just press really nicely to get a really nice finished block. You know, we're not rushing, we're at a really great pace, so we can learn all the tips that we need.
Yeah.
Jessica did a great 1/4 inch.
Yeah, I think it's important too because, you know, not everybody, I don't have as much time to quilt as I'd like to with the business. So to me, like, but I have been quilting for a while, so it's really fun to like pick it back up again and say, oh my gosh, like, this is so relaxing. I love seeing the pieces come together. Like, it's really fun piecing with Emily.
It's fun to quilt with friends.
Quilting with friends is fun. So if you can't quilt with friends right now, quilt virtually with us.
Yes.
Have this on while you're putting your blocks together. But this is just a really, really great project, and it's really kind of like reignited how I feel about, you know, quilting and all this in general. It's just so much fun watching these pieces come together. Yeah, look how pretty.
Because again, you know, last week I skipped that step because I didn't think that maybe it was totally crucial, but
The roller.
I missed it. Yeah, the roller for sure. So we have our first part of our components. We've got, basically we've got half square triangles now that we can join together in all of our blocks. So the next step that we're going to do for every single one of them is make sure that we have alternating pieces. So we're always going to have the peach, navy in every single block. And we want to make sure that those get turned right sides together, line up our dog ears, and we can sew those. Again, you know, this would be a cool option for a block if you wanted a bolder X, and you can certainly do that on another quilt if you want to do that with the AccuQuilt. But our layout, uses alternating. So you should be able to keep that format down pretty good while you're chain piecing.
Peach navy, peach navy.
Peach navy, peach navy, yes. And then we're just gonna rotate. Again, so our McKinney block is going together pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So Jessica chain pieced all of our block units so we can see we have individual blocks all the way around. So we've put them back in the order where you get this really cool X, but the beauty of these blocks are that you can get some really dynamic options. So just by simply rotating this block just like that, and this one like that, check out how that block changes. That's really cool. With the AccuQuilt dies, I don't have to do any trimming. So Jessica pieced all of these together, we pressed them, and now we have really perfect piecing without any trimming to do. So that saves us a ton of time, that we don't have to worry about any extra bulk in these areas.
And I think AccuQuilt's motto is cut time, quilt more.
Oh, definitely. I can agree with that. I like that. So again, this layout, what we're going to be doing is first we're going to take the top 2 blocks and flip them. And we're going to sew along this 1/4 inch. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. But I have a different tip than what we did last week in order to get your points to line up, because we want to make sure we've got this X beautiful and then we've got perfect points. So sometimes pinning can shift your fabric a little bit. So I actually really like using Wonder Clips, and I can clip those right in place in these 2 areas so that my seams are going to be perfect. Let's see how Jessica does with that tip.
Let's see.
Okay, so talk about the Wonder Clips again.
I will. So I love Emily's tip about using the Wonder Clips. I've actually never done this before, but I think it's really cool because the Wonder Clips have a really great flat edge to them here on the side.
Flat bottom.
Yep. Yeah, and then they're rounded on the top, so they're really easy to kind of grab. Plus they also hold really well whatever I'm doing. So I use Wonder Clips for a lot of things, even in embroidery projects. So I think these are like an awesome staple to have in your repertoire of things.
A lot of people use them for binding.
Oh yeah.
That's why most people have them. That's why I have them. But I just found that I enjoy using them more than pins.
Well, I just hate pinning too. So we're gonna make sure that these seams line up perfect because that's what we're looking for here for perfect points.
Well, yeah, and another reason I'm using the Wonder Clips, last week we showed you how we could lock seams.
Yep.
We don't really have seams to lock
on this block.
So using that stiletto will kind of keep the seams in place even after the Wonder Clips are removed. So that's something that you might want to keep on hand too, just if you don't want to get your fingers too close to your piecing.
Or show off your quarantine manicure.
So these look really great. So now she just has 3 more areas that she needs to kind of pay attention to get these lined up really nicely. We've got this piece separate and this piece separate, so now I can flip them just like that, and we can pay attention to these 3 points on our machine. Jessica's gonna do a great job, I know, lining those up, and then we'll have our McKinney block totally finished.
Emily helped me get together my Wonder Clips on the perfect parts of my block that need some extra attention so that I can make sure that these seams and points line up perfect. And I wanted to mention that I am not a full-time quilter. Like, quilting, I love. I have a huge passion for beautiful quilts, but I spend a lot of time in the business, and so I haven't had as much time as I've wanted to quilt. So this is a really, really great option and great project for people that are just getting back into quilting, or maybe quilting is totally new to them. This block has gone together really easy with Emily's help, and here we are almost getting ready to sew our final seam. So we have these Wonder Clips on here. Now, I will say that I am using the best tools available, and we do have expert help next to me, but hopefully these YouTube videos really help you kind of become inspired and learn more about a really great project or a really great hobby that you can do at home and really make yourself feel very creative and inspired. So we're going to piece this last seam together, and we'll see what we get.
Let's see Jessica's seams and see how perfect they are. Let's open this up. Okay, so
No!
Jessica did really awesome on this one and this one, but right in the middle, and this is the spot where there's the most bulk. So if you're having problems at home sewing, this is gonna be the toughest one. Honestly, I still think it looks great. She doesn't have any flat peaks.
Relatable.
There's no flat peaks, we still get some points, but they're just shifted just by like a hair. So
Just by like a thread.
this is what I would say. I would say if you were going to be doing a whole ton of these blocks and making a queen size or a king size, really large quilt, this will be fine. It will press out,
okay.
It will quilt out, no one's going to notice, and I know that we all point out our flaws. You don't do that, okay? You don't. So that's what I would say if you were going to do a really big block, but we have the luxury where we're doing one block at a time, one block a week. So
One block a week. We can do it.
We're not going to repeat this block again. We're going to keep building on the skills that we have. So to be honest, we can rip this stitch out in just less than a minute, and we can try again. And I know Jessica's going to nail it. So, you know, I taught my grandma how to quilt about 4 years ago. I know roles are a little bit reversed. But I taught my grandma how to quilt, and we were putting together some flying geese, and we were doing a 4th of July table runner, and she kept wanting to rip her stitches. And she's gonna be watching this, and she's gonna remember this. And I told her, really, I said, this is fine. There's no reason to rip out your stitches. She did maybe poke herself with a pin, and she bled on one of her blocks, and I said, okay, Grandma, that's the reason why you might want to rip your stitches, if there's some blood on the fabric. So, because I know she's doing this with us, she's joined in as well. But
do you want to know a good quilting story that I have? Do you know where my first quilt that I've ever made is? It's in my mom's house in summer. My sister, aka my mom's Maltese's dog bed. So that's what.
That's actually a perfect example, because, you know, I always tell my grandma, the fabric's not precious. You can cut more, you can make more quilts, and they can be turned into dog beds, apparently.
Whatever you want them to be. My mom uses my first quilt as Summer's dog bed.
And you've made more quilts that are much better than that first quilt.
Yes, since then.
So that's what we're really hoping at home you're following along, and if this is your first quilt, we're gonna give you all the tips. So that it maybe won't become a dog bed. But again, this is something that can press out, that can quilt out. You're never gonna see it, but we're
gonna fix it.
We're gonna fix it. Let's check it out. Second try.
I used the stiletto.
Okay.
Okay, so I kind of like guided it through.
Did you change your speed? Did you go a little slower?
I went a little bit slower, and honestly, getting this like right into like point the fabric in the right direction helped a lot.
All right,
so
let's check it out.
That's awesome.
It's really awesome. So we can use our seam roller, we can press that, and we really have a perfect.
So I'll tell you a little bit about why we called it a Mckinney block. And then I'll have Emily tell you a little bit about our hashtags and how you can follow along with us for the future. So I picked the Mckinney name because it's the city located just north of us here in Plano. It's the second largest city in our county. And I think McKinney's a really cool place because they actually have a pretty vibrant arts district themselves.
Their downtown is really cute.
It's really cute. There's a lot of really cool local shops. I think shopping local and small is really important right now, more than ever. And so I wanted to highlight McKinney because I just think it's a great area, and it's close to our hometown Plano here at the store. So.
That's right. So follow along with our hashtag, Sew Along with Stitch House. Subscribe to our channel.
Please.
Definitely. Follow us on Facebook at Stitch House. If you want to use Good Neighbor Block Party, we would love to see it in there too.
I want to see pictures because I want to see how you guys put this block together too. And I had such a good time doing it that I'm probably going to keep going and make my whole quilt. Thanks, guys.